CMS News. It is presented by Carolina Gomez, Marilyn Montesino, and Sandra Socha. These are the holder of the principal news of today. A criminal kills a couple. Begin discussion for production of medicinal marijuana. Terrorist Day in French. Indicators and novel economics statements. These are the CMS news. Terrorist Day in French. There are more than 150 dead, but gunfire and explosion in the center of the country. It seems that 150 persons have died this last Friday in 7 different attacks in Paris, city that now find in the curfew for safety reasons. The biggest terrorist assault happening in the trade El Bataclan, where 1,500 persons said to act a band of heavy metal. Witnesses say that the aggressor came shouting to the air and they talked to several hostages. Minutes later, the police come and enter to the place, when suddenly detonation of explosives are listening in this place. There more than 80 dead are registered. Other on the attendance was in La Belle Équipe, where 2 men were seen shouting indiscriminately in the terrace of the city. This hard attempt takes 3 minutes, a witness mentions. There is mentioned that the terrorist attack could be caused by the jihadistas. Besides this, the President of France decreed closing borders to assure the country and mentioned, if the terrorists try to go out of the country, they will capture it. Hours after President of France was decreeing closing of borders, the Islamic State said the attack to Paris were in revenge for policies of France. Now, my companion Marilyn informed us on about a crime.
Thank you, Sandra. Hector Jose Peña, 31 years old, and his girlfriend Adriana Gomez Hernandez, 36 years old, were being held with a gun. Hector was being wounded in the head when the criminal shot him in the chest. Adriana was seeing what was happening and started to shout because the murderer attacked her too. The fight was happening at 6:30 p.m. the last Monday in San Rosito. The man was walked when the criminal attacked him, and in the other street he got in a motorbike and he escaped. The authorities will have been investigating the reason of this crime. Thank you.
Now, a political news. The government of the President Juan Manuel Santos say to regulate the use and the production of the marijuana for medicinal purposes. This decree has been worked out for several months by representatives of the Department of Health, Justice and Agriculture, which mentioned that this decree will establish under certain requirements. They mentioned that in Colombia will be legal the trade and the crop of seeds and plants of cannabis, as well as the process of production, manufacture, export, distribution, trade, and the use. This will be destined for strictly medical and scientific purposes. El Tiempo newspaper said that already there are persons and national of Forgive Enterprise say to state that they want to take part in this field once it is legalized. We continue with Carolina.
And today we find Simon Bolivar's Park
In the morning of today, we have a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius here in Bogota. In Barranquilla is the temperature of 35 degrees. In Medellin, the temperature is to 26 degrees with some rain in the afternoon. In Bucaramanga is the temperature of 20 degrees. Please check all the cities in www.anglophone2weather.com. That's all. Thank you for your attention. See you tomorrow. We return with my companion Marilyn.
James Bond was created by the American author Ian Fleming in 1964. He was Walter Van Leiden in 1955. A story about the agent 007 that wasn't seen in the light. This letter was being actioned in London in about 3,255 pounds in the house Burnham. In this letter, which had been containing an argument about the knowledge of Carl's walls. Thank you very much.
We return again with Carolina. Today I find from the Manuel Murillo Toro Stadium in Ibagué in the national games. This year will be a rematch for the national swimmer Omar Pinzon because in the games 3 years ago he tested positive for doping and until recently the sports arbitration court acquired him. One of the figures of these national games in Ibagué is Omar Pinzon. He said that this year he comes sharing and quiet. He also said that he was forced to return the 4 medals. 4 medals that were won by him in the past games, but the medals were returned by him. The family has been greatest support for Omar during this time. Now he hopes to win more medals in 50, 100, in 50 and 100 meters backstroke and 200 meters combined and 50, 100 and 200 meters butterfly that will be swum by Omar. Thanks, that's all for this sports news. Now we will continue with an economic news. Good afternoon. In economic indicators for today, the dollar was yesterday in 3,050 pesos and up to today 23 pesos. So the dollar for today is 3,073 pesos for total. The euro was yesterday in 3,270 pesos and up to today 29 pesos for a total of 2,099 pesos. In the other news, the Nobel economics Angus Sheraton said poverty in many countries because their states are weak. In many parts of Africa and Asia, states lack the capacity to collect taxes and to provide services, and countries in developing children die by being born in rough places. Not because of exotic or incurable diseases, but to common diseases to childhood. Unlike to the above, Nobel Economics states that in the rich countries there are legal and regularity system, public schools, health care, and social security for their cities. And yes, the people pay taxes, but these taxes are for the people
and their priorities. Yeah. So to finish, Angus says, we can't help the poor people weakening, yeah, already weak governments. Are the words of Angus Cherotov. Thank you. That's all for today.
Immediately of local interest news. Governor mentioned Buenaventura passed all October without homicide, after beginning one of the cities with major records of homicide and one of the most violent of the country. Buenaventura achieved the record of passing all month without homicide. This information was given by the Defense Secretary Luis Carlos Villegas, who in addition he assured that the security strategy that the authorities have implemented, which has allowed the reduction of homicide. Now, an unusual news.
Okay, a man was being found in a church stealing the plates in Brazil, Rondônia. The most curious was that he had fallen asleep. $2,645 has been stolen by this man. This was the tithe of a church, but when he tried to take him, he fainted. He is 27 years old. He was taken to a hospital because he didn't ever.
To conclude, a news of interest for all.
Okay, good afternoon. In cultural news, we have 150 triple entries for 50 different events to be held the next days here in Bogota. There are concerts, exhibitions, film premieres, football match will be the main events that you can attend if you write in our website www.anglophonal2eventsculture.com/events. Yeah. In other news, the National Museum will have a new exhibition for 2 months from November 21. This exhibition is open to people over 18 years old. Um, the director, Rafael Mendoza, said, very circle and violent scenes will be screened at the museum. Drug trafficking, prostitution, and sexual abuse are the main themes of this exhibition. That will be open to the public. The tickets for this premiere are being sold at the box office of the museum, just to 250 pesos. Thank you. That's all for today. Goodbye.
Tomorrow we will come with more news. We wish you a good evening. Thank you very much. Bye.